Welcome to Shower Talk with Allie, where no topic is off limit. Today I am joined by a very special guest, my husband Aaron. Before we get started about the topic of this video, please remember to like, share, ring the little bell so you get notifications on this video. Alright, so let's dive right in. Today I wanted to talk to my husband about dating and marrying a woman in a wheelchair. You guys always hear my perspective and other people's perspective, but I wanted, for an inter-able couple, I wanted to hear the perspective from somebody that was able-bodied. So with that, I am going to just keep asking my husband questions. Okay. So, yeah, is that good with you?
Yeah, just ask away.
All right. So when we started online dating, we both decided to use OkCupid. Why did you use OkCupid?
Well, I would say it was free. Mainly, it was free, and you could actually use OkCupid to have a little bit of a profile to know about who you're going to go see, rather than he's hot, she's not, whatever, and then swipe right or left. So you actually can tell what the person is going to be like.
Okay, next question. Oh, they can't see you, honey. You gotta move over.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so next question. When you saw my profile, obviously I had the wheelchair up there, and I had a lot about me and who I am. What were your first thoughts when you saw not just me, but you noticed that I was in a wheelchair and I was open about it?
Well, I think honesty is the key.
Okay, next question. So when you saw my profile on OkCupid and you saw I was in a wheelchair and about me,
okay.
What were your thoughts? Like, what was running through your head when you noticed the wheelchair, honestly?
Honestly, the wheelchair is something that was definitely noticeable, but you were up front talking about, hey, I'm in a wheelchair. So you had the honesty of who you are, not just of that, but your overall personality, Allie.
Really?
Truly. So it wasn't necessarily about anything wheelchair related. It was just the honesty of who you are, and you were very interesting and still are. So there's...
But I mean, come on, like when you see a wheelchair, there's a lot that comes with it, and there's questions, and to be fair, there's a lot where the guys are like, okay, she may be pretty or cool or whatever, but that's too much. I can't even fathom the idea of like going out with a chick in a wheelchair. Did you feel that way or no?
Well, certainly, I didn't know what we would wind up doing. Relationship-wise, all I knew is that after reading your profile, I definitely wanted to know you and have you as part of my life in some form or fashion. It was you that took it to the next stage.
So when we reached out together and you asked me out on the first date, were you nervous? I mean, what were your thoughts running through your head? I mean, when you first saw me, what were you thinking?
Let's see, that was when we went and met at the little pizzeria and had a coffee right next door. And I really didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I just knew that you had a personality and you had interests that were so similar to my interests at the time that I just wanted to know you.
Allie solo, Aaron molesting Allie, go!
Aw. But when I rolled out in a wheelchair, I mean, he told me, he's like, wow, she's kind of short, I'm in a wheelchair.
Okay, that was probably the most strange feeling is when I'm 6'1" and Allie in her chair is definitely
like 4'11",
definitely around the 4 foot level. So that in itself was it took a little bit of time to get used to.
So we went on a couple dates together, hours of chatting and talking, which I think was great. I really got to know you.
No, that's true.
And then, as you guys will know, I will get into videos. I did something called Underwear Dates, and I was just exploring my sexuality. And yes, I don't. He loves that one. I'm not going to get into that now. But when you came up, and I did dress up in really pretty lingerie for Aaron, and I don't think you really knew what to expect, did you?
No, I don't think anyone would know what to expect with you, Allie.
Okay, fair point. But I mean, when we're talking about sexuality for a minute, let's talk about sex, right? Can you have sex in a wheelchair, on a wheelchair, in a bed? I mean, can you just have sex when you're disabled? That's a big question on everybody's mind. And I was always honest. I said, yes, I could have sex. But when you came into my room and you saw me sprawled out with lingerie, I mean, were you nervous? Were you like, how do I move her? Like, how are we going to do this logistically?
I remember when I walked into your room I realized when you were referring to an underwear date that was not a funny statement. That turned out to be very factual. Allie really meant a underwear date.
And surprised to the good side, upside, and we're nervous. I mean, were you nervous to have sex with somebody in a wheelchair? I mean, were you afraid you were going to break me, or how it was going to work? I mean, it's real talk. People want real, honest answers. Yes, look right there.
This is one of those questions that I'm not so into.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so I will talk about more of that detailed sex stuff. So let's get more into just as the months went on. I was going in for major surgery, and I had to fess up that I was going to be in bed for like another 6 months with a giant hole in my butt. So when I told you that, how did that make you feel? A quadriplegic, you've been dating for a month, did your friends or family have opinions on it? I mean, what were you thinking? Because I was in the ICU.
Mm-hmm. First thing that went through my mind is that I need to establish some kind of relationship with Allie. So I asked her to be my girlfriend. So showing up to the ICU, wouldn't it be that awkward of a scenario for some stranger showing up to see a woman in surgery and recovery?
Well, okay, that's a fair point. But you knew I was going to be in bed. I mean, we'd only been together a few times. We've been dating almost a month. And I had another 6-month recovery in a bed. He came to visit me a couple times a week, flowers, teddy bears, and baby Smurfs. It was amazing. Another story for another time. But I mean, what was that like for you, getting to know a woman who just had surgery and, I mean, building that relationship?
Well, I think it was important to be able to take that time to get to know somebody. And it turned out to be that kind of scenario where I showed up to the hospital, and this was the timing. This is how it worked out. And there was...
To give Aaron fair credit, I mean, not a lot of guys could handle a woman in a wheelchair. I get that.
I mean, in all honesty, it was really... I really enjoyed the time I had with you. And there's no way... Because Allie tried to break up with everybody that she was seeing at the time, because she was taking an opportunity to, figure out what she wanted in life before going through a major surgery. So she was trying to be very courteous and in the relationships, because it was going to be a more or less 6-month ordeal for a recovery. And go.
Ready?
Well, I'm going with you, right?
Oh, sure. Why not? We successfully got in the water.
I wasn't willing to wait that long to meet, and I knew that we had something special, and I didn't want to lose that opportunity to be with somebody that I could wake up in the morning and be happy looking at the person next to me. Not too many people have that opportunity to be able to be happy every morning you wake up with the person next to you. So
that's a good point. To be fair, now fast forward like 6-7 months into our relationship, bowel, bladder, dressing, I kicked Aaron out of the room. I let my caregivers do it. I had a kind of conversation about how I go to the bathroom, all that jazz. But eventually somebody you're going to be with for a long time needs to know how to do that. And eventually Aaron did say to me, okay, honey, I got to learn how to do all this stuff if we're going to come to these gorgeous places like Miami, and I have to take care of you. What were your thoughts on that? Were you nervous about how to take care of me? Was it something that, made you think, oh gosh?
No, that's just information. That's just information that you have to be able to look at and deal with as it comes, because it's something that you're going to know what's going to happen. You're going to have accidents. You're going to have more or less...
He means bowel accidents.
More or less hiccups along, because there's a lot of unknown with the spinal cord injury and things that pop up. But those medical issues are nowhere near as unknown as bad personal traits. So.
See, that's a really good point. So for people that have any kind of disability dating in a wheelchair, when you find the right person, yes, it sucks having a spinal cord injury and us having to deal with like the everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
But, right, would you rather spend your days with somebody that just drives you absolutely mentally bananas, or deal with some of the physical challenges? Is that what you're kind of trying to say?
That is what I'm saying. The physical challenges that arise. I mean, that's stuff that just it pops up, and yes, some of it is unknown, but it's nowhere near as risky as the unknown of someone that is slightly unstable.
And I just want to let you guys know, I mean, we're married, we still fight. I mean, everybody thinks we're the perfect couple, but there is no perfect couple. We have arguments and we find compromises, and that's just a little different compromises because of our lifestyle. But
Really not. We really don't have that many arguments.
no, we don't fight. We talk like normal, regular people. We try to work out. All right, so now fast forward, we're dating like a year or two, and we start talking about marriage. I don't even know how that came up. I mean, was that like organic or?
Yeah, that kind of just happened. It truly, I mean, I think that it happened the best way possible, where it literally was just one day, well, we should establish the next stage in the relationship, so if anything does happen, I have the right to be with you in a hospital. Yeah.
I mean, come on,
amongst a lot of other things. I mean,
gosh, this man, I love this man. So we kind of talked about marriage before, and I think one interesting thing about our relationship is that, or any disabled, is that, you know, I can't hide a lot of my physical disabilities. So we knew what we both were getting into before marriage started, right? Would you say that's fair?
Oh yeah, at least 3 years worth of knowing.
Yeah, so mentally we knew each other. Physically, he knew bowel program, catheter care, dressing.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing we do have disagreements about is how to straighten my hair, to be fair, but I think we're doing pretty well on that.
I would say, I mean, what was it? We were only dating a year before we more or less started living together.
Yes, probably living together a couple nights a week. So he finally got to see it. I was so nervous the first time I had to show him how to dress me.
It's really important, because look at where we are. We wouldn't be able to be in a place like we are right now unless I took advantage of learning all those little details and just did it in the morning and took care of it.
It's true. And I mean,
we wouldn't be able to travel without doing those things.
And I think one of the primary differences between like caregiving and then having a loved one do your caregiving is there's different compromises on my side I have to make, right? With a caregiver, and I love all my caregivers, but you know, it's a job too, right? And you do things A, B, C. When you have somebody that loves you and is taking care of you, you have to be conscious of their time as well. Sometimes it's not all about you, even though normally during the week it is about you when you're with a caregiver. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, you definitely get in the routine of being a director of operations of yourself.
And I can't help it. So that's something I have to work on, you know, just for my...
If any arguments ever arise, it's because you become so structured throughout the week, and then the weekend comes and it's hard for you to transition into not being the one that is having to tell others what to do.
All right, so we're going to come to the end of this video, so we're not going on like a novel. But I wanted to ask, do you have any other thoughts, share things with comments with guys who are thinking about dating women with disabilities or women that are in wheelchairs? I mean, words of wisdom, baby, here, because I talk all the time.
Well, if I had to say anything about dating a woman in a wheelchair, it's not about the wheelchair. It's truly about the person first. And you don't have to discredit anybody that has a disability. You really need to look at the person first.
But even if you're attracted to somebody, I mean, the wheelchair can deter you.
Of course. I mean, yeah, of course it can deter you. It truly can. But that means that person has their position in life doesn't allow for them to even want to have that kind of relationship. They probably can't have many kinds of relationships to begin with if they have those kind of issues. You really have to be open to have time to spend with one another.
So, moral of the story, there are good humans out there, guys and girls, whether you are a woman or a man or, you know, whatever your sexual preference is. It's just you have to take the time, right? I kissed a lot of frogs on online dating. Aaron went through a lot, but eventually we found each other because we were tenacious and we didn't give up.
Well, that's very true. I came back home from where I was working and finally was ready to get to know somebody that I actually care to be with, and here she is today.
So we're coming to you. This video will probably be posted like a few months after we've been in Miami, but it doesn't matter because the message is the same. A different perspective from somebody we've been married almost a year and a half now, been together 4.5 years. So anything is possible, and you just have to have a little bit of hope. faith if you want it, need it, and a little bit of a fun, quirky attitude. And you know what? You just have to get rid of the frogs till you find the prince. All right, talk to you guys later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for this channel. Bye.
And for you guys, what a beautiful look. Again, you can't come to a place like this unless you actually take the time and do the work.